What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the final series on this day in the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship, brought to you live from the studios here, the DreamHack Studios in Stockholm, Sweden. And with me on the desk here, we actually have Dreadnought for the very first time and Kalaris. How are you doing, guys? You just had an awesome game to cast, hadn't you?
Best series of the group stages, I would say, so far.
I would definitely say so far in the tournament, definitely the best. I was very impressed from both teams, really.
Yeah, we can't take anything away from Gale eSports because they played one hell of a series, and they are actually going to have to do it again. Basically, they have to win this best of three in order to prevent themselves from dropping out of this tournament. Jay, how big is the pressure on their shoulders right now?
I just hope that the last set doesn't affect them, at least affect them too much. It's a moment that we saw, PBA has already been there. They realized that they have to come back from a loss and be able to, win to get in. They already said they didn't necessarily feel the pressure, but they knew that their tournament lives are on the line. Hopefully Gale Force is able to refocus and maybe take that step towards this weekend.
Definitely. I mean, and PBA, on the other hand, they are a Taiwanese team. They are the only representative of their region here, so I'm sure that a lot of people in their home country are going to watch. However, they come with a positive momentum in here because they won their last series. Do you think it'll be enough to take Gale Force down?
It could be. I think a lot of it goes on more Gale Force's mentality than it does on PBA because, yeah, they do have the momentum. But Gale Force, I mean, even hearing them outside, they were just talking about how, like, we're fine. Just like, we keep our heads in it. That was very well done. We're okay. We're going to make it out of our group stage, so.
And to go off that, I mean, looking at PBA's previous series, for me, some people may debate this, but I feel that was more Big Gods giving it to PBA than PBA winning it with some of the moves that we saw from Big Gods in the end. So I'd be a little bit worried for PBA personally.
Yeah, definitely. And we can find out what teams had to go through in order to make it to this tournament. The road to Summer Championship is something we're now going to take a look at. Of course, these teams that are already through are MVP Black, X Team, and now My Insanity, and the last spot is going to be made out right now. And of course, we have the Seed 1 teams from the different major regions waiting there. I mean, Naventic, E-Star Gaming, Dignitas, and last but not least, Tempest, the reigning Korean champion from the Super League. Those are scary opponents indeed.
The cool thing that's coming out of this is that MVP Black coming out of the group stage. We've got all these teams, My Insanity. In a few days, the big boys are going to play, and that's going to be some killer games.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see how they do. And it's like, even when you list those like seed ones out of each region, you just like hear every name and you're like, well, that's scary. And then you're like, and that's scarier. And it just gets like worse and worse and worse, like looking at what's going to happen in the future.
And I've really enjoyed this group stage so far.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
To me personally, it's been more enjoyable than Spring.
I agree.
Spring was bop, 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 bop. You may as well take on one of those squeak hammers and just hit everyone. Like this one, though, has been thoroughly enjoyable. And then, as you say, the big boys are coming along when we get to DreamHack Summer, and it's going to be killer.
Seriously, every time you say those names, like, I instantly get excited. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it always gets better. What is also getting better, of course, is the bracket as it reaches its final form. Only one pretty much best of three to be decided here between Please Buff Arthas and Gale Force eSports. And yeah, Gale Force eSports, I'm actually very confident in their abilities. As you mentioned, Dredd, they are very calm and reserved, unlike other NA teams that are in this tournament. Naventic is actually pretty much the exact opposite. And if they were in Gale Force eSports' shoes, I would actually be a little bit more concerned.
I can understand why you would feel that way. I feel like it all comes down to the respect I feel like Naventic gives their opponent. If they do not have the respect for them, it definitely can be affected a lot heavier when it comes to a loss, and that might be the case when it came to My Insanity. I don't know their views directly on it, but you are correct. I feel like they are way more influenced by their own emotions.
Definitely. And PBA, we just can't disregard those guys. I mean, Gilly mentioned it at the beginning of the tournament that PBA is a team you should never underestimate. Although they don't have a lot of competition in Taiwan, they are very close to China and Korea, so they might have actually gotten in some practice against these top-tier teams.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we do see from like the communities around here. Again, I think one of the cool things about the LAN environments is that oftentimes there's a lot of interaction between the teams. They have the same goals. They need somebody to practice against, and it gives them an opportunity to not only be able to, I guess, play against stiffer competition to be able to get better, but it gives them an opportunity to understand I guess, the level of playing field that they're going to be on.
Yeah, their bans and picks have been really interesting throughout, and especially you can go back to the most recent series against Big Gods and be like, Zeratul bans straight out of the gate, Tassadar bans when I didn't think even like it was going to be that much of a factor in towards the second one as the second ban, and then even their prioritization towards Muradin and Falstad, Muradin's a given, Falstad's a given, but they really appreciate these two.
So, Dret, as an expert on the American scene, is Zeratul a hero that Gale Force Esports is using in their current roster?
They definitely have it in their arsenal. I don't think it's going to be something that they mainly prioritize, but it is something that could be available to them.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, Fury, he definitely stepped his game up, in my opinion. Especially the Muradin performance was quite impressive. Very high landing rate on those Storm Bolts, Jeho.
You used a word when analyzing Fury before, the stalwart. He is the guy that helps zone. He gives the vision. He knows exactly when to make the right plays. He knows exactly where to go. That guy is a rock for their team.
I was impressed by Rafflecopter being able to even escape some of those hook situations, even without Dimensional Warp available to him, because he took Evasive Shield at level 16 and he's rocking out and having fun.
If only you could hear these guys. They're singing all night long here. I don't know what they're thinking of right now. Maybe dancing on their victory about PBA all night long. But
is Udall going to do Udall things?
Oh, what's going to happen next?
Wait.
They're waiting for something.
No,
Wait for
nothing.
it. Oh, that's disappointing. Come on, guys. You can do that better than that. Rafflecopter looking very relaxed here, almost too relaxed. Arthas, excuse me. There we go.
Wow, that was beautiful.
I like that.
That shows friendship and camaraderie across the whole team.
I mean, seriously, this is one of the absolute closest teams you will ever meet in your life. It's pretty incredible.
And there is Crowan, Don't Give Me Li Ming hairpin. There you go.
I actually never noticed that it had a G on it.
It's the Gale Force logo.
Is it
It's the Gale Force logo, yes.
eSports one? Holy cow. You never stop learning here. My mind is actually blown right now. All right. Crowan, of course, was a very scary opponent to face for Mind Sandy, right?
Yeah.
Because his Li Ming plays were always on point. Is there any other hero that he's very known of or very, very scared at?
It's like go with what you know. If you can have Li Ming, take Li Ming. And the thing is, we talked about this during the last draft. Sometimes they prioritize it maybe a little bit too high.
True.
He did fine on Kel'Thas, but that was on Infernal Shrines. Li Ming doesn't excel as much on Infernal Shrines. But outside of that, it's Li Ming or it's kind of up in the air after that.
I would even go as further than fine on that first map. I think he played really, really well against Kel'Thas. I mean, as Mene said, he was the European Mene, but moving on to the other team, of course.
Yeah, Zola, he played a very impressive game here as well. I mean, we saw the Karzim in his list there as well, and I have to say that PBA, although still God Dog also, he's a little bit more serious about it, but although they were still not picking Arthas, they had a really good performance on Muradin, a little bit influenced by MVP Black. We actually highlighted that during the draft as well.
Yeah, I think it does kind of show that they have heavy interest and influence in their drafting when it comes to MVP. It seems like they kind of go down that route for a majority of their picks, but we've always said since the beginning of this tournament, if any team is going to be able to make an upset, we feel like Please Buff Arthas might be the team to be able to do it.
I think you said that from day one, like before anything ever started.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Is that they were going to be the one. A lot of people questioned whether or not they were actually going to be able to take out their first series today when it came to Big Gods. I still had faith.
And you know what I'm seeing right there? I'm seeing a Chen. And we haven't seen a single Chen in this tournament, have we?
Not yet.
Don't think so, no.
I almost feel like it doesn't have to be. You know, we saw a little bit of Stitches play. I think it was more out of... I was just surprised, but it's the European region. The only team that's played Stitches outside of an Astral Authority misplay on Battlefield of Eternity. But, you know, I think anything's possible.
Definitely. Without further ado, guys, let's actually jump on over to the map veto phase, and we're going to see which battleground is going to be played on first. It is going to be Battlefield of Eternity once again. Can you believe it that this map is actually that popular? Relatively low number on Infernal Shrines, the Diablo counter map, so to speak, but Battlefield of Eternity seems to be where it's at.
Battlefield, of course, I think I'm actually surprised we're seeing it as much. I think some of the other regions tend to play it a little bit more, so maybe it's being forced a little bit more into the rotation. It just allows for such exciting games that I almost feel like teams aren't afraid of dueling it out. And it shows that when this map comes up, it's been the most exciting games all week.
I'm actually afraid that was Please Buff Arthas was the team that chose that, and that map is one of the few that complements heavily a triple backline composition, which personally I feel like is Gale Force's comfort area. when it comes to their pickups there. And another one where Li Ming excels. So I feel like they have to have a game plan going in this match.
Definitely. If we draw a comparison to the Chinese teams, maybe because geographically PBA is very close, do you also think that they are similar in terms of being aggressive and always moving as a team?
Not as bad as things like X Team that we've seen so far in this tournament, but I do think that they go on to that play style heavily.
There it is.
Imagine that. No surprise here. You gave them the Li Ming, they're going to take it.
The fact that they took Greymane off the board, I thought was a perfect play.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw PBA, you know, we've seen them play a few heroes, and Greymane, of course, is one of the ones on this map that you talked about before. Lends to poke potential as well as blow-up potential, which fits perfectly on this map.
Would Tyrande be a good second pick here then for PBA?
It's an option, but I think it's too straightforward when it comes to their team fights. It's something that My Insanity did on this map.
I should have stuck with my gut because I said they would prioritize Muradin and Falstad, and they go Muradin, Falstad. Why didn't I just listen to myself from about 4 minutes ago? Yeah.
It's story time with Caleris all over again.
Yeah, Uncle James back at the building, definitely. But Crowan on his Li Ming is very scary, and as you pointed out, Dread, he is actually very good in that map in particular. You know, not many obstacles that can interfere with the Arcane Orb and missiles. What else do we see? We see Rufflecopter maybe going for a Tassadar, but first of all, we have Rhaegar being locked in.
I don't think they'll be moving towards the Tassadar largely because of the map. We do have Crowan, who's obviously going to be on towards the Li Ming. I think we can expect more casters. I wouldn't actually even be totally surprised if we saw like a Gale Foss or a Lunara out of Gale Force.
Do you think, one of the things that I think that we see Rufflecopter play from time to time is Sylvanas, but at the same time, does it also lend towards an early Sonya pickup, which could easily fall directly into Udal's hands?
Yeah, Sonya, it could be the case for them here. I think they're thinking about it heavily because ETC was something that they played very, very well. Also is good on the map because his passive usually complements composition to be able to get more damage out onto the
And the thing is if you go Sonya here, or if they did go Sonya here, then they would arguably tell PBA to just ban Tassadar, and then Gale Force would be predicting the draft pretty heavily and fast to the point where they could get picks, but Johanna is the pick, interestingly enough.
Now, from experience, I know that Johanna is a hero that can trigger an analyst or an expert's emotions quite high, because there is a scenario when sometimes Johannas, they go to the enemy team while doing the Immortal and try to blind him, but that doesn't really achieve a lot of things, does it, Dren?
Yeah, it's only a couple of auto attacks that it negates. More than anything, Johanna struggles when it comes to just getting the engagements when your opponents need them, or when your team needs them over your opponent's weaknesses. They have to have very aggressive positioning, otherwise, for the most part, she's pretty easy to walk away from. So we're going to need Fury to make those aggressive positioning if Gale Force is going to be able to make it out here.
I'm actually surprised. I almost thought that PBA might be going into Thrall, but
I think Sonya's the
with Sonya on the board, I feel like it's almost a given.
Sonya would be nice, and then on this previous map that they played Zagara as well. Rhaegar was their next choice. It would be exactly the same if it wasn't already on the side of there. So PBA might even prioritizing Zagara now would be weird. So Uther could be a choice, yeah.
Uther's a safe pick in the sense that it lends them that last pick to see the last two picks from Gale Force. I know Dread loves some Karazim.
I actually, I don't think they should pick their support here. I think they're gonna. I think a Lunara 100% for Gale Force now. I think by doing that, getting so far into this draft, I feel like they're really gonna want the Lunara. With the Uther being picked up, it only excels.
And I'm not even sure I like the Uther here. I think they're gonna get stalled out in mid. Uther's not gonna be able to last as long in mid when it comes to sustain, and I think he's gonna get out-poked and outgunned.
I feel like the story of this matchup, when I look at these comps right now, if Gale Force goes with a heavier, one more poke hero that really kind of excels there, it puts them in a position where Uther's not going to be able to out-heal that AoE poke. There's Lunara. So it's not going to be able to out-heal the AoE poke, and that's going to be all right for a short period of time. You're going to be able to gust, you're going to get a moment to breathe, but during that time, your Immortal's going to get an immense amount of damage onto it here. So PBA has to be absurdly aggressive and efficient with their playstyle here. Otherwise, it looks very bad for them.
I mean, the fact that Greymane, Thrall, Sonya are off the board in some manner, whether it's banned or picked up, I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see that triple back line. I mean, is this an opportunity for somebody like a Sylvanas?
I think Sylvanas would be the pickup for Gale Force. It could. It might not. I don't think they're going to go. Okay, Zeratul instead. That makes a bit more sense here. I didn't think they were going to go with.
Wow.
I wasn't sure if they would want to dive into that.
And this is exactly the hero that PBA banned out twice against Big Gods, but this time they didn't do it, and Gale Force eSports picks it up.
They were clearly worried about it in that previous series, as you're mentioning, and I think Zeratul here, I think they kind of looked at this, and this is what I thought. I thought to myself, they need something that really kind of forces the issue, and Tracer does force the issue, but I think that Zeratul is there to annoy her as well. It's kind of the insurance policy against something that would force an issue from PBA in the last pick.
Yeah.
Vorpal Blade, the fact that Lunara can get the slow in. Now, Tracer is a hard counter to Li Ming, but with Lunara and Zeratul back there, I think that actually makes it much more difficult.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to, I feel like, coordination the most.
Wow,
Like, Tracer is going to be locked in. I feel Gale Force, by picking up the Zeratul, got breathing room, and that if PBA does force the issue, as you put it very well, that now with the Void to get a moment to like settle down their team comps.
Usually Tracer these days is being picked with a Tasser because the shields can make her a lot more resilient. They don't have it this time, PBA that is. Do you think it's still going to work?
I don't know. Does the Johanna pick look much better now, given the comp of Sonya, Muradin?
She holds the front.
Falstad, Tracer?
I'm taking a minute to think about it.
Does it make it that much more valuable?
I feel like Johanna, she's okay. She's going to be fine. Like, she can take a decent amount of damage
Shield
if it
glare.
manages to make it to 20. But, like, I don't feel like it's going to do enough to gain more value in that situation, I guess. It's still a solid pickup. It will be fine when it comes to the single target focus.
She's just a good warrior for stalling out things.
Yeah.
She'll stay at the front, she won't die, and I think she's going to be okay.
All right. James, why don't you provide us with your first prediction on this first game?
I love Gale Force's draft. I'm going with Gale Force.
Mr. Dread?
If they don't get insta-gibbed, it's going to be all Gale Force.
It's hard to stray away from Gale Force in this one. I've got GFE.
I have to say yes to all of the things that my fellow analyst here just said, because I think Gale Force eSports has what it takes to take it. I mean, also in terms of individual skill and overall team synergy, Gale Force eSports has the upper hand. So without further ado, guys, let's throw it over to our final casting duo of the day. It is going to be none other than Calder and Todd.
Welcome back, everybody, to the caster desk. We have our final best of 3 of the day, Todd, and once again, the North American team trying, of course, to make it out of the group after the last match against Mindsanity.
Yeah, they're going to have to stay positive after that last series. You know, barely didn't make it in the second map against Mindsanity, and now they get another chance, the final chance.
Yeah, and right now we're already seeing them to the left side here on our first map in the series against PBA on Zeratul. It's Michael. We have Rega played by AKA Face, Li Ming, of course, by Krone, Furious on Johanna, and Rufflecopter on Lunara.
And on the other side, from Please Buff Arthas, we've got Zola on Uther, Baphomet on Sonya, Scroll on Muradin, God Dog on Falstad, and Alpha on the Tracer.
Tracer is going to be a very interesting character in this game right now, picked into a Zeratul and into a Lunara. Especially, of course, the auto attacks of Lunara should definitely force Tracer back quite a bit. And with only an Uther on to heal the damage out that especially Lunara can dish out, it's going to be very, very tricky for PBA, I believe.
Yeah, there's the potential to see some epic duels, by the way, between Zeratul and Tracer if they were to try and, you know, kind of pick each other off here at some point.
Yeah, it's actually the second time that we see a Tracer in this tournament. We already saw her played by MVP Black. In this case, once again, as a level 1 talent, it's the Pulse Strike. And as we see in the game right now at the top lane, it is Sonya versus Zeratul. Everybody else is currently working up at the bottom lane, where already Lunara is getting a bit of value for the team.
Yeah, that tower took so much damage here already, thanks to I guess in particular Li Ming nuking that a lot, and so far it's gonna have to be PBA here trying to kind of, you know, sit there and defend that as much as they can so that it doesn't go down too fast.
And since we have a map where you actually don't get as many regeneration globes as on others, we are seeing even the Ether Walk now taken as a level 1 talent on Li Ming. Definitely something that is not coming to play too often. Gale Force doing a very solid job so far with the pressure play at the bot lane, and PBA is playing super passive at this point.
Yeah, don't they kind of have to though because of their draft so far?
It's definitely a little bit tricky for them right now. The problem is that if they fall behind too far and an extra talent comes into play with the Immortal, then it's going to be very tricky for them to make any kind of play here. Falling behind with the lineup that they're using is not really an option.
How do you think the Tracer pick is going to go then for them in some of these fights?
I'm actually worried with the Tracer pick. I mean, you put incredible damage onto Li Ming if you get close enough. First of all, Lunara is in trouble though, and she's taken down. Great first kill for PBA. Well played here. Very well done.
I guess we got to answer here. They're going to try to go for the backline and those fragile heroes in Lunara and Li Ming. If they can blow them up, then...
If they can blow them up and take them down right away, then PBA is definitely going to have a great start into these fights. But if Rega is able to keep the target alive, then I think it's going to turn against them very fast.
Yeah, Gale Force eSports here on this side of their Immortal here are going to try to defend for a little bit.
Well, Immortal already under pressure. Of course, the poke game is very strong for Gale Force here. In their case, once they hit level 7, they're going to have a lot of value out of Lunara's talent. So that's going to be incredibly strong to push the Immortal down even more. Once you have that Nature's Culling, you can just dish out so much damage. And I mean, Li Ming is on their setup as well. That poke is going to be real.
Yeah, Mike Udall and Rufflecopter are trying to do some damage on the opposite Immortal here, but they're going to go for the defense here.
Yeah, and on the front, Johanna once again trying to go for the zoning. Missed bomb on the side of Zeratul, everybody dashing away. But in experience, both of the teams are still fairly even here, and already a lot of damage on Baphomet. He's trying to get away. He might explode here. Fury goes in for the kill, doesn't get it, but down goes Tracer, and they might be able to take down Sonya too, and they do.
And that gives them level 4 as well here, so a big win here.
Yeah, really well done. And I mean, when we're looking at the Immortals, this is finally the chance for Gale Force to push down the Immortal health of PBA.
And they are doing this so well. They left Mike Udall and Fury here to try and defend their Immortal while they're taking the opponents down. Akaface is actually going to come back here. Oh, almost getting stunned here. Scroll and Goddog are going to have to be careful. They know what's happening here, so they're trying to contest as much as possible.
The race is really starting up, but Fury has to move back. Now he's very low, has to pop his Iron Skin, but they still go for the Immortal, and this is Gale Force securing the first objective in the game.
Looks like they were thinking about going for the hard camp there, but instead just going to pull back, regroup, regenerate those hit points and mana, and then do they actually push with the Immortal, or do they go on that other lane to try and do some damage there?
Well, they're currently already orientating themselves up to the top lane here. Only Zeratul is trying to keep experience to the bot lane. Falset is already in position, but this is just going to be both of them soaking as much as they can. You try to go through the wall at least. A couple of structures, an early experience lead, that's what you're looking for here, and that's also what Gale Force should be able to secure for themselves.
Mike Udall actually on the Zeratul here with Vorpal Blades on level 4.
That's going to be such a great talent for him to keep tabs on Falstad and also to a certain extent on Tracer herself if he uses it properly. So that is definitely going to pressure that backline. And Zeratul is a hero that PBA doesn't really like to play against.
Yeah, it's definitely proven true earlier in the tournament here. So with not opting to ban it this time around, man, if they lose this one, they most certainly will ban it in the next map, I think.
Yeah, one of the things that we also
look at this down there, actually, the Falstad was getting targeted by Zeratul and almost fell.
Yeah, but Goddog has to be very careful here. Once again, Wobble Blades, of course, a great tool if you want to keep close tabs on one of the ranged assassins and jump in. Another thing that I want to highlight real quickly when it comes to talents is that even though we are playing on Battlefield of Eternity, Muradin against so many auto-attackers decided to go still into the Reveration build, pop the Thunderburn on level 4 instead of the Sledgehammer that we oftentimes see here. Makes sense. You are up against Lunara, you're up against the Zeratul, you're going to get a lot of value out of the talent.
All right, looks like Gale Force eSports want to get that camp here. And actually, that almost could have been contested. I think PBA were thinking about heading there themselves because they had 4 heroes around the top here, but not quite fast enough.
Yeah, the problem was that level 7 talent that came into play for Gale Force. That extra talent is quite strong here. The cleanse alone, of course, already helping a lot. And I mean, look at the build that we're currently seeing on the side of Fury. He goes for the Crusade Marches on level 7. He has the amplified healing. He's the only real frontliner, and he knows that he just can't die. And he's doing his best right now with the build to make sure that it doesn't happen.
And Calamity here on Li Ming on level 7, so Teleport's going to do a little bit of damage to the enemies near her destination, delaying the capturing of that hard camp there from Mike Udall up until the Immortal spawn. This is brilliant, and it looks so smooth. They took the top camp, then moved to the left-hand side one, and now the bottom one is going to come up at the same time. They're going to have so much pushing power while fighting for the Immortals.
It's a great sync that they have here with the bot camp and also, of course, the night camp on this map. But right now, Nature's Culling is going to make a huge difference here when it comes to the pushing power. Just look how the hit points on the Immortal just disappear. This is the strength that you have when you play Lunara Li Ming on this map. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And of course, at some point, PBA needs to rotate heroes down to the bot lane to defend against the camp push.
I think PBA should be looking to try and take a fight now and do well in it. Otherwise, they're just going to keep on falling further and further behind here.
Now
With the experienced lead
they're
on Gale Force
already
eSports.
in a spot where they had to rotate Sonya down. It allowed extra free damage on the Immortal for Gale Force eSports. Gale Force actually playing a very smart play here. They move back a little bit. There's no rush for them. They're finding themselves in a very good spot, and they just sneak heroes around to put even more pressure onto the Immortal.
Yeah, they're just going to take it down in front of PBA here. PBA getting desperate. They really want to get a fight here, but I don't think that Gale Force has to take a fight. They could just pull back.
Johanna had to move back. Gale Force still poking a little bit. Rufflecopter is there. He puts the damage in. Liming wants to finish them off. Here comes Krone once again. AKA faced with a jump. Goes for Falstad. Barrel rolls away, but there's still Zeratul and the kill secured. Taking down Muradin and also Falstad. They sacrifice Zeratul, but still a trade in their favor.
He was quite deep here in the middle of 3 heroes, but I don't think they care because that was a big win there. Now with that such a healthy Immortal with so much shields, that's going to be a fort. Remember, the top fort is... He lost half its hit points already as well, so level 10 against level 8, this is just great here for Gale Force eSports.
Yeah, and what I really didn't like too much in the last engagement was Tracer trying to use her ult on Johanna. I really think that was a bit of a mistake. You won't be able to take Johanna down since she still had Iron Skin up, so that was already a lot of damage wasted, which could have been applied to Liming or Lunara. And now it's a massive push at the bot lane with level 10 abilities on top of it.
They're going to do quite a bit of damage on the keep as well here.
Oh,
that wall's already down, and that was almost full hit points here. He only lost the shield on its way there, the Immortal, so they can still kind of stay there. It's only level 9, still for PBA. They can't fight. They need to buy time and do some damage to that Immortal, but they can't.
This should nearly be keep. I mean, once again, Tracer dashing in, dashing out, but not enough damage to really threaten Zeratul here. Here comes the Disintegrate, and with Lunara and the Nature Sculling on top of all of that poke that Liming provides, there's no chance for that keep to survive.
Look at that Sonya trying to do some counter damage. That's not too bad, actually. Getting some good soak there. Yeah. Must be careful not to get caught, but I don't think Gale Force eSports are not even going to try for it here. They're just going to portal back home and regroup and then go for the next one.
We have, by the way, a huge commitment with the heroic abilities right now. We see a leap on Sonya. They're really trying to play this aggressive. It's, of course, also another talent that will especially make the life of Lunara a lot more difficult. Once that Tracer zips in and we're seeing the leap on Sonya, Lunara is under a lot of pressure. Those Ancestrals on the side of Rhaegar, they have to be absolutely on point.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been funny if Sonya had gone for leap first and then Lunara went for leaping strike.
kind of trying to dodge that there, yeah. The one thing, of course, that helps a lot is also that cleanse. It's not only about the ancestral healing, but if you are able to cleanse the stun out. There comes the jump on Rhaegar, though. The Void Prison trying to save Rhaegar, but he is still dead. Void Prison is finally up. A nice attempt to saving Rhaegar. He's, of course, the one target that you cannot cleanse. Self-cleanse is just not possible, and therefore, in this case, a very, very nice snipe by PBA. Extremely well coordinated for him.
He had ancestral healing up, I think, but...
Yeah, well, ever since they took that away, that you can ancestral yourself, Rhaegar have been dying all over the place. In this case, he definitely wanted that to be reverted, but, well, can't have it all.
It's the one hero you can't get caught with. I mean, we even saw in the last game, Mind Sanity versus Gale Force eSports, whenever Rhaegar got hooked, he was like insta-blow-up.
Yeah, like Rhaegar players had to really work on their positioning ever since Blizzard made that change, so it's definitely a bit tricky. It's the same with the cleanse as well. Rhaegar has to be really careful. Once that Sonya appears on the map, he needs to be in a position where he can make sure that he's not the intended target of the leap. Right
Level
now,
13 is almost there.
Yeah, and we have the Immortals again there. So once again, the poke. The thing is, you cannot outrace Gale Force eSports. It just is not going to happen. If PBA is trying to do that, they're going to lose every time.
Yeah, there's so much more damage. I think Gale Force eSports are looking to try and soak level 13 with Zeratul at the top and then go into some kind of engagement. PBA knows it, so they try and go for the fights before they fall behind on talent here.
Yeah, and I mean, Todd, look at the bot lane. That camp is once again caught at the perfect moment in time. It's pushing against the core here already. Could actually threaten a few hit points for now, though. They leap into the backline once again, but this time Sonya is all alone, gets the Divine Shield. They're trying to snipe another heal. Great heal in this situation. Falstad is actually flying away. He's able to escape, but once more we are seeing Sonya very much alone. She's attacked by Lunara. Rufflecopter with the damage. There's the Whelman, but the kill, and it's a 5 versus 4 for Gale Force eSports.
Yeah, that Blessed Shield hit everybody, and now PBA is just going to have to pull back and kind of let this go. They have no choice. They were behind on talent. They took a very risky gamble. Zeratul going for the Uther. He gets him.
Nice, great kill there. Michael Uldal is really just trying to chase them down whenever he can.
He's having a really good game on that Zeratul, by the way.
He's having a lot of fun here too. And I mean, now it's another Immortal that they just secured with 50% shield. We're seeing the team on level 13 with the unfair advantage already. The Earth Shield, great talent for Rega right now. They really identified what the kind of composition or the idea, the strategy behind PBA's draft is, and they said, as long as we survive the initial burst with the leap on Sonya, with the Olden Tracer, as long as we survive that, we're golden. He has his Earth Shield up now, he has his Cleanse, he has his Ancestral, so he's all the tools that he needs to make this happen.
Yeah, and Zeratul is going to be really hard to actually catch him here. With that wormhole, he's going to be able to do so much damage.
Yeah, also, once again, we've been talking earlier about Johanna and the build that Furia is currently using. He's once again going for a very passive talent. He wants a survivability. He goes for Hold Your Ground at level 13. I really like the way that he's currently running this here. They have the talent advantage, and once again, the Immortal up at the top lane.
Yeah, and it's still a very healthy one here. This could very well be another keep.
Oh,
Just because of the composition that they have here. It feels like PBA, they're not equipped to deal with Immortals. Ideally, they would have liked to get them themselves, but it's just not been going their way so far.
They're getting totally outpoked by Lunara and by Li Ming. They were trying to blow them up, but they just can't get close enough. There's also that Void Prison. Once again, the jump in, double jump already. It does nothing. Falset flies in. He wants to gust. That didn't hit anybody. Now God Dog is out of position, but Lunara at least died. The Divine Shield and Li Ming also down. The Mighty Gust might not have been good, but they still get the double kill.
Yeah, Mike Ludal was out of there, by the way. Kind of going to come around here. If Tracer overextend, he goes for it and blows her up completely.
Yeah, so they at least get one counter kill, but the keep is still down, and this is the big trade that eSports made. They get a double keep.
Yeah, they salvage the situation a little bit here with that snipe on the Tracer.
Oh yeah.
But with the double keep down now, how do you win from there with Gale Force eSports being so close to level 16? They're just obviously going to play it pretty safe, I think, and from there.
I mean, right now, Gale Force, they sacrificed 2 heroes, but they got the keep at the top lane. They were even able to pick up the Tracer kill, which was huge. Their level 16 is going to be much faster. At the same time, with the timings that they used so far on all of the camps, they are going to threaten core for every Immortal now. And all they have to do is win one more Immortal, and the game is theirs.
The core lost a little bit of shield as well, too, just now. So obviously, he's going to start regenerating, but you can tell it's always exposed. Those lanes are always pushed. And as soon as they start grabbing some camps like they're doing now, and then the Immortals come into play, it's going to be really hard for PBA to stay in this game. PBA, what they need here is to somehow get level 16 sometime soon and then win a fight. But it's going to be so hard because Gale Force eSports is not really losing any fight. They did a little bit worse in that last one, but other than that, it's been pretty clean so far from them this game.
The Void Prison is going to be up by the time that the Immortal spawns for Zeratul. He has the camp taken, perfect timing for them once more. Already the top lane, Zeratul is trying to depush it, and this Immortal is going to be absolutely key. PBA is going to be forced into a fight that they do not want to take because they don't have the level 16 talent, but they kind of have to make that play now.
It's going to take forever for them to get level 16, so I think they're just going to try to fight without it here.
They have to. They just simply have to right now. Already the pressure play is there, and we have with the Holy Renewal on level 16 another tool for Johanna to stay alive in these fights.
They have to clean that camp at the bottom as well. That's going to buy some time here for Gale Force eSports to damage that Immortal.
And Lunara is already on the job. Bambi is just poking away at the Immortal, and just look at that damage. It's looking good. They already have it down to roughly 70% of the HP. And they have all the time in the world. They don't have to rush anything because they know the lanes are pushing for them.
I don't know if Bambi was ever that dangerous, Caldor, but I like it.
Well, at this point, yeah, you can really tell PBA is sitting there, but they know that they're running out of time. They rotate Falstad to the bot lane. He can fly in, but as soon as they are spotting Falstad at the bot lane, Gale Force can start to push the Immortal again.
If they're able to soak level 16, I think I like this. Falstad, whoa, I think he just flew towards the middle of the map, actually. He's trying to come in from behind to land a big gust.
Yeah, he won't be able to make that play, though. They're trying again, but if they get stunned out here on the Immortal, that would be a huge problem. They're jumping in once more. Where's the lead? There it is. They're going for Rega, but Rega escapes. That's another cooldown that they just baited out.
Yeah, and now they're fighting close to the opponent's Immortals. That's going to make it even more difficult
Oh, Tracer is so low, and so is Sonya and Muradin. This is such a huge problem right now. Tracer already dead. The Mighty Gust a little bit low. Down goes Force. A double kill for Gale Force. There's the triple. They go for the quad kill, and now they're going for the team wipe. This is the end. At this point, no matter what Gale Force does, they're going to take it. They even ignore the Immortal right now, and they're saying, we go for core. We end this as soon as we can.
Crone had an absolute field day in this fight. He ended up with full hit points as well. Never really was targeted. Did all the damage that he wanted. And I have to say, it's been really impressive on his liming, even in the previous series.
I mean, Crone is an absolute monster. The only thing that is more beautiful than his hair is his liming performance here. 49,000 damage in hero damage. Of course, Lunara with 85k is currently on top. And there's the laser show as well. Great play. And Gale Force takes game number 1 against PBA.
Really strong performance here out of them in map number 1.
They had
did what they had to do, really,
yeah.
and not too many mistakes. I guess a little bit of an overextension at the top. You know, they slightly lost the fight, traded a 1-4-2, but other than that, that was pretty clean here out of them.
Yeah, you could really tell that the idea of PBA to just blow up heroes early on in the fight didn't really work out too much. It was one death of Rhaegar at the camp to the top, where it kind of worked a little bit, but every time after that, we saw a great performance on the side of Gale Force eSports. Very good coordination during the fights. And, I mean, the Immortal poke game is just too strong if you have Leeming and Lunara.
That Tracer pick really did nothing for PBA there. I was a little bit surprised to see them pick that. I thought maybe they have like a secret strategy with it, but didn't do much.
It was high risk, high reward, but of course we're going to head into game number 2 very soon. First of all, we're going to hear once again from our panel what they have to say about map number 1.